So this is day 8. Yesterday was day 7, and I scrubbed the tails and then soaked them in plain water for about 5 hours, and then I didn't have time to do the next step after that, so I dried the tails and put them in the fridge overnight. So today we're going to do a vinegar bath to neutralize the lime. And it's kind of interesting to see. This one is the thicker of the tail, of the sides of the tail, and has more hair left on it. This one was also harder to scrub that dark residue off. This is the thinner side, and most of the hair came off. It was easier to get that residue off. I think it would have been easier if I had left them in the lime bath for another 24 hours or so. But here we are for now. We're gonna need a half gallon or 8 cups of water, cool water. So there's 4 cups, 8 cups, and 5 ounces of regular distilled white vinegar. If you're using a different amount of water, just use the same ratio, which would be about 10 ounces per gallon, 5 ounces per half gallon. Okay, I'm gonna let this soak for 24 hours, and then we will start the tea bath tomorrow. But I'm gonna make the tea today so that it can cool and be room temperature when I'm ready to use it tomorrow. I am using a full kettle of hot water, which is just about 64 ounces, about a teaspoon of salt, and this is just for the first day of the tea. We don't use salt on the other days. I'm using 10 tea bags. This is just the small bags, the cheapest I could find at the grocery store. It's definitely easier if you can find the tea bags that don't have the paper on them, because eventually we're going to use like 25 a day or 24 a day, and it's annoying to unwrap all those tea bags. So those are going in. So we are using tea to tan the leather because it's inexpensive and easily accessible, and it's really nice for small batches. Traditionally, for using tannins to tan leather, which is also called vegetable tanning or veg tanning, you would use bark ground up and soaked in water, and that creates your tanning liquor. For tanning large amounts of leather, that's what's usually done. So in either case, it's the tannins from the plant material that tan the leather. That's also called vegetable tanning, so you're using a vegetable material to tan the leather, and the tannins bind to the protein structure in the hide to change it chemically and turn it from a raw state into a tanned leather state. The tannins also create a very strong leather because they add strength to the fibers, and they also add weight, which is interesting. So when you take a hide and you use tannins to tan it, you end up with a hide that's heavier than it was before tanning if it were dried, dry weight to dry weight, and a little bit thicker and a lot more durable than it would be otherwise. When you think of veg tanned leather, that would be really sturdy leather. Think like saddles, bridles. It's usually kind of a stiff leather because it's usually thick leather. In this case, we're trying to make it thinner, and we're going to work it so that it has more flexibility. The drawback of veg tanning compared to other methods is it takes a lot longer, and it's generally either a lot more expensive or a lot more work to get the tanning materials.